All right, so now we are live again. Let's try this again and see if it works. Sorry, I had a little trouble with the audio on my end. So everybody who's jumping in the chat now, let me know down below in the comments if you can hear my microphone okay. So check 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, check. Yeah, let me know in that comment section if you can hear me okay. Awesome, very cool. So we got Turbo, Drew, Sergio. You guys can hear my microphone okay? Are we all good? Awesome. Very cool. So let's jump back into this. Sorry, everybody, for the technical difficulties. So today we've got big news in the Ethereum space, okay? We've got Uniswap V3 launching. I'm going to jump into all the details on this, what you need to know, why this is such a huge deal, okay? We're going to check on the crypto markets. We've been hearing more from, the billionaires, Elon Musk, Mark Cuban. So ton to cover today. So thanks for bearing with me on these technical difficulties. If you're new around here, hey, I'm Gregory, and on this channel, I turn you into a blockchain master. So if that's something that you're interested in, then smash that like button down below for the YouTube algorithm and subscribe to this channel. And if you want to learn how to become a blockchain master step-by-step, start to finish, then head on over to dappuniversity.com/bootcamp to get started today. All right. So let's jump into the markets really quickly before we jump into the Uniswap news, because I'm sure lots of people want to know kind of what's going on there. Sorry, I have to re-pull up all my links. I had to restart my system after I had this pretty bad audio issue. I'm not really sure what's going on, but hey, a system restart did the trick. Okay, so let's go ahead and look here. So things are about the same, honestly, as they were yesterday when we were talking about this stuff. Like, I'm not a big trader, not a big TA guy. Looking at the big picture here, we've seen some like slight bearishness over the past 7 days, followed by a little catch here at the bottom. So what do I think about that? Well, we saw Elon Musk, again, the man with the Midas touch for crypto, talking about Bitcoin and Teslas. So basically, sorry, I had the tweet pulled up here a minute ago, but I had to restart my computer. So Elon's talking about being able to buy Teslas in Bitcoin, okay, and the fact that they're actually holding their Bitcoin. So I'll pull the screen up here, pulls on the screen. So you can now buy a Tesla with Bitcoin. Tesla is using only internal and open source software and operates Bitcoin nodes directly, okay? And then Bitcoin paid to Tesla will be retained as Bitcoin, not converted to fiat currency. So we'd heard about some of that before, but this is big news. They're holding their Bitcoin, not selling it. They're actually helping run Bitcoin infrastructure. They're operating their own nodes. So this is a big deal, all right? So again, anytime Elon talks about anything in crypto, it just kind of goes up no matter what it is. Talks about Dogecoin, talks about Tesla buying all this Bitcoin for their balance sheet. We just talk about the fact that they're holding Bitcoin like while the price is dropping. We see this like recovery here. Okay. So who knows what's going to happen with this long term over the next couple days. It could be pretty underwhelming and it could go lower. Big picture here, I'm not really worried. Same thing as I was talking about yesterday. I don't see any big indicators to think that like a bull market has ended or anything like that. I know we've been in a bull market for months and months and months now. I haven't seen any kind of blow off tops. Of course, the on-chain metrics, support that as well. We haven't entered into any euphoric territory. Sorry, I had all my charts pulled up here, but my computer had to get restarted, so I don't have them all at my fingertips. I don't want to keep you all waiting all day. So, we'll move on here. So let's go ahead and jump into the big news that I'm sure everybody wants to talk about, which is Uniswap V3. At least I want to talk about it. I think other people are excited about this because we've been talking about this on the channel for months now. Okay, let me pull up the tweet thread here. So Uniswap version 3 was announced yesterday. Okay, it's not out yet. So when's it going to be out? What are all the details? What do you need to know about this? Well, first of all, let's just do a quick recap for people who are new to the space, who haven't really used Ethereum much, don't know what Uniswap is. So it's arguably the most important Dapp or decentralized application powered by smart contracts on top of Ethereum today. There's tons of amazing apps out there. The reason I say that is arguably, you could provide counter evidence, prove me wrong. I would entertain that. But basically, the one that it's the most earliest. It's one of the earliest decentralized finance applications on top of Ethereum. It's rivaled exchange volume from centralized exchanges. It has a ton of individual users, unique users. It's like the go-to DEX for the Ethereum space. Those are the main reasons. I mean, it embodies a lot of Ethereum values, all that kind of stuff, but those are the main reasons I would say it's arguably most important. So why is Uniswap V3 such a big deal? Well, there's a ton of upgrades to how Uniswap actually works. Okay, so there's mixed reviews on what people thought about this. Some people thought it was kind of underwhelming, that the news wasn't as big as people thought it was going to be. I mean, some people like, I don't know what some people were thinking, like that it would cure some mysterious disease or something like that. But the biggest thing is that it's going to launch shortly after with layer 2 scaling solutions with Optimism. So that's confirmation of exactly what we've been talking about on this channel. So, at the beginning of this month, I said, hey, watch the Ethereum space in March. This is going to be big. Layer 2 scaling solutions are going to help reduce the gas fees on top of Ethereum and also help with the scaling, so throughput. So actually make more transactions in a smaller amount of time, handle more transactions all at one time, okay? So we've been talking a ton about layer 2 scaling solutions. I've been kind of piecing the breadcrumbs together, speculating that Uniswap would launch on top of Optimism, and that turns out to be true. So we still don't have an official update, at least that I've seen, about the official timeline for Optimism mainnet launch. We saw announcements that Optimism would launch on mainnet in full force in March. We're getting pretty close to the end of March here, so it hasn't happened yet. It might be a little bit after. So we'll have to wait and see. And all during that time, I've said, even if Optimism launches in March, it wouldn't surprise me if it takes a little bit longer for big production projects to adopt Optimism. One of the reasons I'm so bullish on Optimism as a scaling solution is because there's hardly any friction to moving your app over to it. It doesn't require many code changes. But that being said, even if it doesn't require many code changes, like, you still want a major project to be battle tested before you just like launch into wild and let people trade millions and millions, not billions of dollars on top of it. Okay. So you got to look at the big timeline here. So talking about like March, let's assume it actually launches the next week. If not, in the next few weeks, maybe the next month, who knows, right? And then, within several weeks to a month later, one of the biggest apps in the entire Ethereum ecosystem is going to launch this solution. I mean, that's big on major development timelines. That's something else people have to understand is blockchain development lifecycle moves at a different pace than traditional Web 2.0 development lifecycles. You have to be more careful. You can't just you can't fix bugs the same way. You can't, you have to be a lot more careful. It's like being a carpenter. You have to measure twice and cut once. So anyways, that's huge. That's honestly the biggest that's the biggest part of the news from the Uniswap V3 launch, in my opinion, is that we're confirmed layer 2. It's confirmed Optimism. So all the stuff we've been kind of piecing together here have been correct. It's just the time was a little bit later than we might have hoped for or anticipated, but that's okay. I mean, this is still big. So what is the actual timeline here? So the dates that I saw, I believe it's early May. So I don't get the dates wrong. I want to say it was like May 5th, I think, was the mainnet launch, and May 12th was the Optimism launch. You have to go fact check me on all that, but that's the important thing to know. It's going to launch on the Ethereum mainnet on the base layer 1 first, and then they're going to launch the optimistic piece on top of that about a week later. Okay, so whenever it launches live, don't try to go to Uniswap and trade and say, oh, why is it still expensive? It's like, well, you got to wait for the layer 2 to go live. And you'll know when you're using layer 2 because you have to migrate to it. Okay, so, but this is absolutely major news. So there's a lot more to it. They've done a lot of innovation on how the capital efficiency works, which I'm still like kind of wrapping my head around some of these things. I'm going to make a video later this week about sort of like all the big improvements with Uniswap V3, why it's such a big deal. So subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, check out that video whenever it comes out, because we'll be kind of deep diving in this more. I need a little bit more time to actually go through all this. But some of the highlights are like, yeah, it does improve that capital efficiency. So if you think about how Uniswap works, is basically it's got liquidity pools, okay? And so basically, it has automated market maker technology. So instead of having an order book like you would on a traditional exchange, it allows individuals to become market makers and provide liquidity or funds for the exchange inside these liquidity pools, okay? and they follow a formula where basically like they provide equal shares of the trading pairs, and based on the price, there's like, you know, slippage, and it kind of goes up and down this curve to determine basically the price of the order and how much, based on how much liquidity is provided in those ranges. This is like sorry, not a really great explanation. Again, check this, kind of off the cuff. Check out that video later when I give a better polished, like in-depth explanation on this. But the whole point is, people talk about TVL and DeFi protocols. So that's total value locked, which basically means how much money is sitting in that application. There's a lot of criticism on the TVL metric, which basically means if there's a really, really, really high TVL, that means the capital is actually inefficient, which means a lot of it's not being used. Okay, so if you go to a website like DeFiPulse.com, you can track like TVL on different protocols. Okay, Maker, Compound, Aave, SushiSwap, Uniswap. Okay, so here's the current TVL. So this would reduce the TVL. Well, not reduce, but like this will change the dynamics of TVL, because basically that means if the capital is more efficient, that means more money that you put into this app is getting used, and you can earn more money for the app that for the money you put into the app. This basically means better ROI for the liquidity providers, better fees, or better experience, lower cost for the user in terms of trading fees, and then also lower cost in terms of the gas costs whenever we move to layer 2. So again, this is me just jumping into this the first time. If I got some of that like slightly wrong, I'll go back and do a better job in that next video. But so anyways, there's a lot to this. It kind of breaks up it breaks it up into multiple ranges of how it works. Again, I'll go into that more in depth, but this is a big deal. So even if you don't geek out about the design of the actual app itself, honestly, one of the biggest things is the fact that this is going to launch a layer 2 scaling solution and let people trade for cheaper. Boom. End of story. Like, massive improvement. So we got some questions in here. Yeah, less slippage, somebody's talking about. So yes, that's definitely a big benefit. Awesome. So yeah, Uniswap V3 is big. Let's look at some more information here. So I said we've heard more from the billionaires. We saw Elon Musk talking about Tesla able to buy Bitcoin. Or sorry, able to buy Tesla with Bitcoin, and then they're running Bitcoin nodes. We're also seeing more from Mark Cuban, who we talked about a lot in this channel. Okay, billionaire Mark Cuban is buying a digital art gallery building a digital art gallery for NFTs. So this is cool. So quick take, billionaire entrepreneur Mark Cuban is building a new online gallery to display non-fungible tokens in any form. So the platform will allow users to display digital art and collectibles in one place, as well as share their collection on social media platforms. So he's widening his scope with his involvement in digital art, not fungible. So yeah, this is pretty cool. I'll check this out whenever it comes out. So NFTs are still big. Are they in a bubble? Yeah, I think they're in a bubble. Does that mean they still don't have a long-term potential? Of course they do. I mean, think about crypto in 2017, which was definitely in a bubble. I was here, saw what was happening. It was in a bubble back then for sure, because the prices went up really fast. You couldn't do a lot with cryptocurrency in 2017. You could do a lot more with it now. So was it a bubble back then? Of course it was, but you can do a lot more with cryptocurrency today. Sort of a Pandora's box situation where Pandora's let out of the box, no going back in there, and yeah, there's a lot of long-term potential. Other thing about NFTs, I've said this a lot on this channel, but it's important to repeat, which is you can do a lot more with digital assets than just collectible digital artwork. You know, you can model tickets with NFTs. You can model all kinds of stuff. You can insurance contracts, anything that is digitally scarce that has to have an ID. Then you know you can use NFTs for that. Somebody says crash coming. We don't know. There's people talking about so it said, but Binance Smart Chain has like 1% of ETH fees. So, I mean, there are people just swapping on Pancake Swap, all that kind of stuff on Binance. I mean, I've made videos on Binance, I've on these streams. The big difference is decentralization. So ETH is far more decentralized than Binance Smart Chain is. And a lot of people don't care about trading, care about decentralization. They just want cheap fees, be able to make gains, all that kind of stuff. I get it. I mean, that's until people are given a reason to care about decentralization. Smaller players may not see that reason anytime soon. Bigger players, they'll care. We're talking about large amounts of money. People who are building big businesses or managing big funds for the long term, they will care. Somebody says super cycle. Might be super cycle. Somebody says, will ETH 2.0 change how we write smart contracts? So that's a good question. Honestly, like, we will have sort of yes and no, okay, for lots of reasons. Yes, in the sense of like the Solidity programming language is evolving. It will probably change to some degree to support the new paradigm for how it's compiled and run on ETH 2.0 nodes. But doesn't necessarily mean like everything's gonna break because ETH 1 is gonna get merged in as a shard to ETH 2. So yeah, I wouldn't worry too much about that. I see a pretty funny comment down there. I'm not gonna say it out loud. Oh, so another thing I want to talk about with the Uniswap launch, which was pretty crazy, okay, which is I saw a buzz around this floating on Twitter. I haven't confirmed this for sure, but if it's true, then it's pretty crazy. So, talk about Uniswap's software license. So this is important to understand. So Uniswap is an open source project, which means that the code is all available online for other people to go see, to go use. So Uniswap V3 has changed their license agreement. So this is my understanding. I guess I could pull it up right now and confirm. But let's just assume that it's true. I didn't do my due diligence to actually confirm this, but let's just assume it's true. Just because the software is open source doesn't mean that you can like take it and use it for commercial purposes and make money with it. Okay. If the license agreement states that you can do that, then you can do that legally. But from what I've been saying is Uniswap V3 has changed their software license to where you cannot just fork it until like it's been out for 2 years, I believe. You can do it for academic purposes. You can do it for like testing purposes. But if you're trying to use it to make money off of it, then you will be in violation of those terms. Now, some people say like, oh, how are they going to enforce that, especially if it's an anonymous team or if it's a DAO or something like that. Sure, it's a good point, but it does set a precedent, which is like, Uniswap is a highly forked project. Of course, I've seen popular decentralized exchanges come up from just like forking Uniswap, both on Ethereum and on other blockchains. And you're seeing some like tension there of basically like, okay, well, we do all the innovation and then you all just like take our code and then like, siphon value and create these different projects. So it's going to be a really interesting dynamic that Uniswap's launching out a bunch of new stuff. And of course, people can still fork it. They can still do it. You can say, well, the burden's on you to enforce the license agreement, but it does set a precedent. You know what I mean? Where it's like, okay, well, you're just violating the terms of service repeatedly, right? Which sometimes that does change the sentiment of the projects. So this is it's an interesting dynamic for the new launch. We'll see how it plays out. Could create some drama, that's for sure. Somebody's talking about the like London hard fork here. Somebody says short-term bear market. It might be a short-term bear market. Somebody says, well, that's what you get for being open source. Yeah. I mean, part of the value proposition of being open source is that people can verify your code on blockchain. That's one of the big reasons in the first place, is so that people can see what they're using. Somebody says, will there be a Uni V3 airdrop? I don't know, to tell you the truth. I think that we'll probably see some sort of incentive to move to layer 2 to provide liquidity layer 2. And you may say there's an intrinsic incentive because basically there's going to be cheaper fees on layer 2, but we could see some sort of other liquidity incentive come out. I don't know, to tell you the truth. It's just speculation. Somebody says, I'm 10x leverage on ETH and BTC. Only way is up from here. Well, stay safe out there, buddy. I hope that works out. So what's my opinion on staking? I think that staking is huge. So, and that's a very open question. Basically, staking, it's awesome. So for Ethereum 2.0, it's going to change how the blockchain works when we move to proof of stake. There's lots of benefits. In terms of the person staking the cryptocurrency, what do I think about the opportunity for staking? I think it's a big opportunity. There are lots of risks associated with it right now, of course. If you stake on ETH 2.0 and you truly stake natively on ETH 2.0, you can't get your funds back yet until we migrate to, until we get out of this phase and actually implement proof of stake on the blockchain that you're personally using. So that is, of course, a risk. The returns, you have to have 32 Ether in order to stake fully. So that's a big risk for a lot of people. So, if you want to reduce some of that risk, you can wait until we get out of this phase. But of course, the returns might be lower then, but yeah, just my thoughts. Let's see here. So Optimism versus Arbitrum layer 2 solutions. It's a good question. So I don't have a strong opinion between the two right now. Optimism is the one that I've been most bullish on. I'm learning more about Arbitrum. I've heard lots of good things about it, so I don't know enough to fully speak on the topic right now. Optimism's had a lot of momentum behind it. We've been talking about a lot on this channel. I've been speculating about Uniswap version 3 launching on Optimism, that turned out to be true. I've always said that like whatever Uniswap decides to use and officially announces, will probably see a consolidation of other people use the exact same thing. We'll see if that turns out to be true. I think it will. That being said, we do need some sort of decentralization and multiple options, I would say, for layer 2 scaling solutions on top of Ethereum. Because what you don't want is a layer 2 to like have all the funds and then I don't know, like swap it out and put their own blockchain. You know what I mean? It's like you don't want you want some decentralized options there on top of layer 2 stuff. What's one of the main big problems with trading crypto today besides layer 2? The price going down. Somebody's so the current so that's a good question. Somebody says the current ETH 2.0 APY is based on the current Genesis. What do you think the return will be once ETH 2.0 is live? I don't know for sure. So it'd be interesting to see. I could see the return start to get around 5-6% or something like that. For a couple reasons. I would expect it to just be kind of like a market efficiency sort of thing. So basically, like at some point, like there's a big barrier to ETH staking, right? It's a big technical barrier. You have to run a node to lock it up, all that kind of stuff. But basically, like they're big players who are going to be able to do that, run multiple nodes, all that kind of stuff. And these are people sitting on massive war chests of capital. And they're going to say, where can I put my capital to work? They're going to look at a variety of solutions. And I expect the ETH 2.0 returns, so the ETH returns, to get closer to that like 5-6% range, which is like typical returns and other things, and very conservative, terms. So there's lots of reasons for that. One, layer 1 blockchain staking is a very conservative strategy. All you have to do is trust the actual blockchain protocol itself. You don't trust developers, the smart contracts on top of it. Layer 1's the safest. It's the most audited. It's stood the longest test of time. All that kind of stuff. Well, ETH 2 hasn't stood the test of time, but you get what I'm saying. A lot more eyeballs have gone through and looked at that. A lot more people at risk. The entire network's at risk if something happens, rather than a smart contract that's written by a small team of developers somewhere else. So it's going to be a very different risk profile. It's lower returns, risk reward scenario. Staking is always going to be attractive, even if the returns get down to like less sub 5%, right? Staking is always going to be attractive for people who have held ETH for a long time, simply because if they're able to earn sub 5% returns, let's say 3 to 5%, it's still an attractive option for people who purchased ETH a long time ago, never sold it, and want to earn a passive income reward without paying taxes on their principal gain. So what do I mean by that? So if you buy ETH at like $1 and it's now worth $2,000 and you can stake it, you've seen an insane appreciation, and you would have to pay taxes on that if you sell it. But if you don't sell it and then you just stake it, it's not financial advice, by the way. It's not accounting advice. You always want to check with your accountant and your jurisdiction, all that kind of stuff, before you even decide to do something like this. But my best understanding for a lot of people is if you just stake it, you don't actually incur a taxable event of selling your ETH to USD. You just hold Ether, you stake it, and you pay taxes on the returns from staking, not the principal appreciation. So. Do you think they'll put a cap on validators? No. I mean, because the staking rewards are calculated, they have a range. So basically, like, you can look at the actual returns. So we'll see. It's based on the theoretical possibility that everyone on the network stakes. So you can see it's currently 8.2%. This is if like the minimum is staking is at 21%. If literally like, it goes down, it goes down. It can go further than this, but no, I think like theoretically everyone could stake essentially. I mean, in theory, right? Because you still have to have ether available to send around. I guess the ether that you have received as a staking reward can be sent around, but yeah, there's no the theoretical cap is everyone doing it. All right, everybody, that's all I got for today. As always, subscribe to this channel, turn on notifications to find out about these live streams. Some people are saying they don't hear about them on their notifications. You can always show up Monday through Friday, 9:30 a.m. Central Time. We tried to actually get started on time today, but we had some technical issues. So thanks everybody for bearing with me. Yeah, as always, smash that like button down below. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. It really helps these videos out so more people can learn about blockchain. If you like these videos, you want to take the next step, or hey, maybe you want to take a master shortcut entirely, I can show you become a blockchain master step-by-step from start to finish over at dappuniversity.com/bootcamp. All right, I've helped people with zero programming skills become real-world blockchain developers in a matter of months. All right, so that's all I've got. And until next time, thanks for watching Dapp University.